Every day, billions of people go to work, try new things, or simply try to stay healthy. But sometimes, the simplest and most ordinary moments can turn into nightmares that push the human body beyond its limits, causing unimaginable pain. Here are some of the most painful deaths in history. 1. Trapped inside a giant oven. On the morning of December 23, 2010, 54-year-old Alan Catterall began his normal shift at a canoe factory in England, where he had worked for 12 years. The factory used enormous, room-sized ovens to shape plastic canoes, and once the doors were closed, they could not be opened from the inside. That morning, one of the ovens malfunctioned, causing molten plastic to spill inside. Alan entered the oven to clean the floor. Outside, an operator reset the system without realizing that Alan was still inside, and the oven was switched on. The heavy steel doors locked behind him. The temperature inside quickly climbed above 260 degrees Celsius, or 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Alan desperately hit the steel doors with a metal crowbar, trying to make someone hear him, but the noise from the factory drowned out his cries. Within minutes, the oven filled with smoke. Even more tragically, the person who activated the oven and accidentally locked Alan inside was his future son-in-law. Alan died inside the oven. 2. 11 hours of acid agony. On February 9, 2019, 54-year-old Daniel Hill was working at a pipe manufacturing plant in Michigan. One of his most dangerous duties was inspecting tanks of sulfuric acid heated to as much as 71 degrees Celsius, or 160 degrees Fahrenheit, which were used to remove rust from steel pipes. As Daniel walked along the platform above one of the acid tanks, the surface had become slippery because of acid vapors. He suddenly lost his balance and fell directly into the tank of hot sulfuric acid. His co-workers rushed to pull him out within seconds, but the acid had already soaked into his clothing and begun severely damaging his skin. He was taken to an emergency shower in an attempt to wash away the acid, but the chemical reaction continued and his skin began to peel away. The most horrifying part was that Daniel remained fully conscious and was reportedly screaming from the unimaginable pain. He was taken to the hospital, but the acid had already caused severe internal injuries. Daniel endured this terrible suffering for approximately 11 hours before eventually dying. The factory was fined $32,500 for safety violations. 3. The man who lost his jaw. In 1927, Eban Byers, a wealthy Yale graduate and golf champion, injured his arm after falling during a train journey. His doctor recommended a product called Radithor, which was marketed at the time as a miracle medicine. Radithor was actually distilled water containing dissolved radioactive radium. After drinking it, Eban said that he felt wonderful, energetic, and young. He became so convinced of its benefits that he consumed about 3 bottles a day for 3 years, drinking approximately 1,400 bottles in total. But radium cannot simply be eliminated by the body. Instead, it accumulates in the bones. By 1931, the radiation had begun destroying Eban's bones from the inside. First, his teeth fell out. Then holes began forming in his skull. Eventually, his lower jaw deteriorated so severely that it separated from his body. Eban died in 1932 at the age of 51 after suffering tremendous pain. His body was emitting such high levels of radiation that he had to be buried in a lead-lined coffin to prevent radiation from escaping into the surrounding soil. Even 33 years after his death, when his bones were examined, they were still emitting potentially lethal levels of radiation. The Wall Street Journal reported the story with a headline suggesting that the radium water had worked wonderfully right up until the man's jaw fell off. The human body may seem incredibly resilient, but sometimes a small mistake or a single wrong decision can change everything in an instant. If you enjoy these tragic and unusual stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment telling us what topic you'd like to see in the next video. Take care.